Time to test our first ready-made workflow. Later, I will explain in detail what nodes are and what they do. So let us start Comfy UI, wait for it to finish loading, and get the interface. To open a workflow, you have different options. You can drag a workflow directly onto the canvas, or you can go to the menu, then File, and choose Open. All workflows for Comfy UI have the extension .json. JSON means JavaScript Object Notation. It is a simple text format used to store and share data in a way that both humans and computers can easily read. In Comfy UI, JSON is important because workflows are saved as .json files. These files store all your nodes, connections, settings, and prompts so you can reload, share, or edit a workflow later. I will include these workflows for free on Discord for those who use a different Comfy UI version. For example, I can open this first workflow, and you can see that it opens with all the nodes and links ready to be used. You can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out to see the entire workflow. You can click outside the nodes, somewhere on the canvas, and drag to move around. You can also use this hand tool, which I personally never use. With the hand tool, you can pan around the canvas. With the normal mouse cursor, you can select nodes and move them around. We will talk more about that later. Now we have the workflow open in this tab, and you can see its name at the top. With the X button, you can close the workflow and go back to a new empty one. If we go to the sidebar and click on Workflows, I can open this folder called Getting Started, which I prepared for you for this episode. Only the easy installer comes with these workflows, so if you are using a different version, you can get the workflows from Discord. You can also make the sidebar wider if you want to see the full text. I added a few workflows here to test in this episode. This one is just a help file with notes and useful information that we will use later in the video. Let us close it and open the one with number 1 in front, called Juggernaut Reborn. If I click on Workflows again, the sidebar collapses. Now let us move around using the mouse, left-click and drag to see it better. Each of these blocks is called a node. All nodes are connected to each other using links, those small cables that go from one node to another. Usually, a workflow is built from left to right. When you run a workflow, it processes from left to right. If something does not work or the workflow is broken, Comfy UI tells you where the problem is. Think of it like a car dashboard. If a door is open or a light bulb is not working, you get a warning icon. It is the same here. Errors look like this. It says prompt execution failed, and it also tells you something like value not in the list. These are some of the simplest errors to fix. It is like the car telling you a light bulb is missing. In Comfy UI, it means a specific value, object, or file could not be found. In our case, it could not find the checkpoint name, which is the model name, the brain as we called it. Comfy UI workflows include all the nodes and settings, basically the interface, but they do not include the models themselves. Those brain or engine files are not included. Since workflows are just JSON text files, they cannot include images or large files like models. In this node called Load Checkpoint, the checkpoint is just a model file, the brain we talked about. Even if I click here, I cannot select anything because it is not in the list. That means the model is not downloaded yet, or it is downloaded but placed in the wrong folder. Since I did not download any models yet, it is clear I do not have it. That is why when I share a workflow with you, I include a note that tells you exactly what you need to download for the workflow to work. Not everyone on the internet does this, but most good workflow creators do. The way I organize it is like this. I tell you where the model needs to be downloaded and which node loads it. It says Load Checkpoint, which is the node name, then it tells you the model name you need to download. There is a button that says Here, and then it tells you exactly which folder to place it in, and which folder to create if it does not exist. That is enough theory. Let us download the model. You already saw where it needs to be placed, but how do you find that folder? You need to find your Comfy UI folder. This depends on where you installed it, on which drive, and in which folder. You navigate until you find the Comfy UI folder. In our case, it is inside the Comfy UI Easy Install folder. If we go inside, we see many folders that Comfy UI needs to run. We have an output folder, where generated images are saved. We have an input folder, where input images are stored. We also have a models folder, where all downloaded models go. Inside the models folder, you can see many subfolders for different types of models. Over time, you will learn what each one is for. That is why I included the note, so you know exactly where to put the model without guessing. For this workflow, the model goes into the checkpoints folder. We could just save it directly there and it would work. But from my previous tutorials, I learned that over time you will download many models and it becomes hard to keep track of them. That is why I like to organize models in subfolders. In this case, I know this model is based on Stable Diffusion 1.5, so I will create an SD15 folder and place the model inside it. Now we wait for the model to download. Some models are a few gigabytes in size. After that, we go back to Comfy UI. You can see I placed the model exactly where the instructions said, so Comfy UI can recognize it. If Comfy UI was closed, reopening it would automatically detect the model. But since Comfy UI is already open, it will not see the new model yet. We need to refresh it. To do that, press the R key. You will see that the node definitions update. Now when I click here, I can see the model name and select it. Right now there is only one model, but later you will have a drop-down list with many options. Now the model is selected, and it is time to run the workflow again. By the way, you can move the Run button anywhere you want on the canvas using the small dots on its side. If you prefer it docked, you can dock it back to the top bar. Let us run it again and see if it works. Everything turns green. Each node runs from left to right, and no red nodes appear. That means the workflow ran successfully, and we generated our first image. The model we use in this chapter is quite old and small. Later, we will use smarter and more advanced models. For practice, this one is good enough because it is fast and can run on smaller computers that do not have a lot of VRAM. Each time I press Run, I get a new image because we have a random seed here. Do not worry about this yet, I will explain it later. So, now we can generate an image with Comfy UI, and all of this comes from a simple text called a prompt. Basically, we used a few nodes with specific settings and a model trained for this type of image generation. We can change the prompt, for example, photo of a cat, close up. Now when I run the workflow, I should get a cat. The more VRAM you have, the faster it will generate. We can see the generated images here, but they are also saved locally. If we look at the output folder, we have a shortcut to it on the desktop. Inside that folder, we can see all the images we generated so far. Let us go back to Comfy UI and close this workflow. I do not want to save it because I liked the prompts and settings it had before, so I choose No. Now we are left with an empty workflow, or you can click on the plus sign to create a new blank workflow. Before we move to the next chapter, I recommend taking a short break. Research shows that short pauses help your brain process and retain new information. Grab a coffee, get some water, or take a quick bathroom break, then come back and continue. This chapter